This next tutorial basically will cover how to validate the input in the text field to ensure that basically a number is entered only, and if a string or anything other than just a plain number is entered, it will display an error message. The second part of this video will then go on and show how to basically handle, if someone presses the enter key, treat that the same as actually clicking on a button. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to go back and have a look at our little few of our functions. Remember, the click handler handles what happens when we click a mouse button, and at the moment we've just got told it to play the game. We're going to add another feature. Before we want to play the game, we want to do their validation, so we're going to add in a function underneath it. So we're going to call this function validate input. So add in my function. It's an empty blank function at this point, just called validate input. Now the first thing I want to do is actually take the guess and actually parse the input. So check to see, try and turn it into an integer. Then what we're going to do is we've got a new function, and put an if statement after this. So we've got if this new function is not a number, and it takes an argument of guess. So whatever's in this variable guess, it works out to try and work out if it's actually a number. So it goes, is guess a number, yes or no? So if it is a number, not a number, then we want to display an error message that we're going to output to the output.inner HTML, and we're going to say please enter a number. Otherwise, we want to just go through and play the game as normal. So what we have there is that when this function is run, it will check to see if the number has been entered. If it's not, it will ask us just to enter it again. If it is, it will play the game. Now, we want this to happen when we click on the button, so rather than playing the game, we want to run the validate input. So we're going to take that command and add it in there. So now when I click on it, it will run. So if I run this, what I can do, so I put in a word, it comes up with the please enter a number. If I put in a number, it gives me the actual options, which is exactly what I want it to do. Now, our next option is what we want to do is add something in that's going to handle the program if I press a key. What we're going to have to add in here is another action event listener, except this time we want it to happen on the window, which basically means the entire window of the browser. So we've got window. Note our sort of keywords, reserved words, are going to get highlighted a different colour in Dreamweaver. So add an event listener to the window. If a key down, I want to run the function called key handler, which we're going to add in later, with an event. So anytime I press a key down, I want to detect this. I'm going to add another function in below this. So I've got function key handler, takes an argument of the event. Now, what we need to do is detect the input. So what I'm doing, detecting the input event.keycode, which gets the Unicode character of what the key has been entered in, and 13 is the code for the return or enter key. I want to make sure it's exactly 13, so I'm using triple equals to ensure it matches up. And then finally, I also want to run that validate input option. So I'm going to run that in and save it, preview it again. So good, it's working with that. So now if I press the enter, I don't have to actually click on the button to get the program working. Nice simple way of modifying our code. It gets us to do all the requirements. Obviously the next step will be moving away from having variable actually hard-coded in at 25 and getting it to randomly generate it.